You only need 3 dice sets, max. Now, I get it. I'm not one to talk. I know some people are already giving me some faces. I get it. But what I mean to say is you only need to bring 3 dice sets to your session. I fully believe that is enough. If I have to sit at the table and you bring out a trash bag for the dice and you have to wade through them to find that one special D4 that would be perfect for this roll, then you're wasting valuable game time. Dice Goblins, I love you. Please continue to buy dice from independent dice creators. And I love checking out new sharp... I mean, if you want to show off your new Sharp Edge Purple Die Galaxy set that you got, then great. Good to have it. I have a lot of dice too. But above table, you know for a fact that there are 5 sets that you own right now that you do not roll. Welcome players, DMs, and TTRPG enthusiasts to Above Table. You better leave a comment now tagging me for that last statement or you'll lose rage. We'll go into the next turn and you'll lose it. No, honestly, I've started adopting this thing where I only bring 3 dice. I only pull out 3 dice set, and that's it. And that's what I utilize.
I don't bring out sets. I just bring out ones that I like.
3d6, 3d20. If I have to 3 attacks, I could roll all 3, and that's it. I don't need to go any more. And anything beyond that, when I hunt, once you hit rolling 6d something, use digital. Or if you wanted to do it, you can roll it twice.
No, when I was hitting like 12d6, I was rolling.
Yeah, see, from a DM perspective, the thrill of gathering like 10d6 and be like rattling it in front of your players, like, oh man, this is gonna suck for you. So satisfying.
What is scarier, grabbing a big chunk and tossing them all out? Or is it scary to go, all right, I'm gonna grab a handful, roll, handful, roll,
I don't like
roll,
the chunk thing. I like
roll.
to separate them in little groups.
What feels more scary?
I don't think I've been on the receiving end, so I don't think I can say.
Well, we're going to have to change that.
I guess, you know how many handfuls it's going to be, which grows scary. I think you got to get the pacing right if you want that to be scary.
Yeah.
You do that, you add up the number, you write something down, then you do it again, then you write something down. Yeah, then that's really scary.
Pull Brendan Lee Mulligan. I fucking hate when he does that shit. And you're just like, what the fuck is that sound over there?
And when everyone's saying, no, all right, stop, is when you know it's bad. Yeah. It's enough. Well, I know that as people sit on the fence, or there are one way or the other. I'm just describing everyone in the world. But when it comes to bringing out how many dice you need to own, whether that is a bunch or it is just one set and that is your set, another sort of subject within the TTRPG space that is currently grabbing a bunch of attention right now is min-maxing. Min-maxing, not mid. I've been saying it wrong. I Mandela effect myself. Fully. It is out there in the world to know.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. I thought it was middle of the road. I thought that's what mid was. Mid-maxing was middle of the... I guess not. I don't know. Yeah, right now it is kind of spreading within like the TTRPG TikTok scene where people are talking about min-maxers, whether or not they are ruining the game or it is just part of the game and you just need to deal with it, DM. I'm really interested on what you guys think on... What do you think about min-maxers in general?
I think it depends.
Go. So what's
sorry,
go first?
You're good. I think it depends, like, on the game you're playing and, like, what the expectations for it are. So, like, if you're kind of in a vibe of a group of self-proclaimed murder hobos, then maybe having a few min-maxers, it's like, yeah, our job is to just lay waste to the lands, versus if you're in a more like story lore driven thing, it might get a little cumbersome, a little in the way.
Got it. I have a strong opinion. I do not wish to sit on a fence. I wish to jump onto one side, but I will do so maybe after one more person. Does anyone else have a feeling about min-maxers?
Amber, you want to go?
Unfortunately, I feel like I'm in between, but still probably jumping more than one side. I've just because I've played with them in a very heavy role playing scene, and you're just like, I want to slap myself because it's like I want to own D&D, and I'm like, that's not a thing. You don't win at D&D. Good chance you're going to die. So that's just not a thing for me. Although I do agree with Titan. I feel like if it's like a battle royale or something, then maybe like, okay, the objective is we're going to try and kill each other. Then I would say like, okay, you know, that's a fair point. But as far as story goes, I feel like it kind of kills it for everybody else.
Fair. I agree on that point that if you are going into a one-shot that is fully a battle arena, obviously you want to min-max, you want to make sure that you're looking great. But when I say D&D or TTRPG, the biggest word in there is roleplay. I honestly think any kind of TTRPG has some sort of roleplay element to it, whether that is storytelling. We were just talking about Deathmatch Island, where there probably is like moments where characters can interact. Roleplay. You're playing a character. I do not like min-maxers. Not to say that I diss your style, and I think you are hurting the actual gameplay of it and the actual experience of it. No, but from my experience, min-maxers are looking at the numbers more than they're looking at a character. They're not saying I'm gonna play this big guy who's a little bit dumb and a little bit silly, and he comes from this background. They're going, I'm a +7 barbarian who has 200 HP. It's like, that's not a character. Also, in my past experience, because I am in a unique position where I play a lot of games with random people, generally, mid-maxers are the ones who come to me privately and go, can I have a +3 sword? Min-maxers are never satisfied with their stats, regardless of how much time they spent buffing them up to be a beast in the battlefield or dominate a roleplay scene. They don't care about their character and the way it's currently set up. They want it to be better. And that doesn't feel like D&D to me. And I know I'm going to grab a bunch of ire. Hey, leave a comment. It helps my algorithm. I win.
Oh, wow, devious. You're min-maxing the engagement model here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think I gotta take the opposite side just for the interest of discussion. But I think a lot of the negative associations people might have with min-maxers don't necessarily have to happen. You can min-max your stats and also really care about role play and, want to, care about story and stuff. Maybe your character has a reason to be really optimized. I mean, that could lend itself to boring, like, all I care about is killing, whatever. But maybe you're a child prodigy wizard and all you did was study and you're bad at everything else, but you're really good at your one thing, right? And players, most of the time, you pick a character that does something you think is fun, and you want to be able to succeed at it most of the time, right? Failure can be fun, but generally you want to be succeeding more often than you fail at your core thing, right? And there's a reason we don't, for example, just roll 3d6 in order for all our ability scores and take what you get. It like in super classic D&D, right?
I've heard of that role, yeah.
That can really suck, right? You can do point buy. Point buy itself is like very min-maxy. That there was a time that was regarded as like, okay, you're turning it into like just numbers or whatever, rather than just taking the luck of the draw. When I play characters, I do think you can have a lot of fun playing flawed characters, playing characters that have that are not super optimized or super great at a particular thing. But from a DM perspective, I'll say, everything else being equal, let's assume everybody gets along, everybody has fun at the game or whatever. I'm okay with some min-maxing, because then I don't feel bad about like throwing really hard obstacles at the character. Like, you can min-max your level 5 character all you want. I can throw something at you where the answer is run away or bribe it or whatever, right? That's part of D&D that gets forgotten a lot. But also, like, there's the min part of min-max. What are your weaknesses? What are you neglecting? It's often strength or intelligence or whatever. So I'm going to throw the wizard in a lake where you have to make strength checks to swim, right? I'm going to isolate the barbarian and send an intellect devourer after him. And all of a sudden that, like, 7 intelligence doesn't feel so safe or whatever, right? Like, and those could be exciting moments too. People have to overcome their weaknesses. How do you compensate for your weaknesses, right? It is a system where you can't be great at everything. So you do have to make choices in building your character. And I think a DM, you should pay attention to what those weaknesses are, right?
Yeah, no, I actually completely agree with that. Something I find is, like, when I play characters with, like, decent or really good stats, I have such a boring time. Because I'm like, okay, so you're, like, average at everything, or you're good at everything. I really only feel completely satisfied with the character that I've created when I have a negative score in at least one thing, if not 2. Because I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to, like, suck at something really bad. Like, there is that point of, like, I want to be good at something, I want to succeed, but not at everything. And I think the issue is, like, when people say min-maxer, at least for me, I think of, like, people who focus on the max side of it, of, like, I'm going to succeed all the time. But yeah, if those same players lean into, I'm the barbarian with the +5 strength at level 3, but the -2 intelligence, and therefore I run into issues constantly because I know nothing, I can't navigate the world, stuff like that. And it's like, it's fun to watch a character flaw and, like, fumble their way through life and then have a moment of, like, oh, I can do this one thing I'm really good at.
Yeah. It's like, you want them to be honest about the honest about their weaknesses and drawbacks. And then that can be really fun. There are a lot of characters that are fun and exciting that are pretty one-dimensional in terms of their focus in fiction. And that can be good, especially on a team. Like, people are good at different things and have different weaknesses. But I think the association with min-maxers is a lot of, like, people who strip out the story and the flavor and everything of D&D and start playing it like a spreadsheet, which, like, there are games and players and groups that like that, but I think that's not usually, it's not what D&D is great at, because there is so much, like, flavor and, like, hand waving baked in. And if you pick all the best wizard spells as a wizard and the best wizard subclass as a wizard, and have the optimal stats, you'll be the most powerful class at a certain level. But it's like, I don't relate to that as a player. Like, wanting to play the same exact wizard that a bunch of other people have played does not appeal to me at all, right?
Oh man, I'm chomping at the bit for this. I
seen the light bulb go off in your brain, Mike. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I got a hook, and I'm like, I gotta hold on to that one. Being respectful.
Yeah.
Mid-maxers have that stereotype, and it's one of those things where even still, when you talk about mid-maxers, there's always that mentality of, as a DM, going, oh, I hope they're not this way. And it's not like that mentality was built out of some random whim. It was built because that is an average or a more than average experience that people have with min-maxers, enough so where it becomes such a joke. Which is why I sit on that fence of, like, I don't like them. Because my experience, when we look at the mid part of min-maxer, I'm a smart wizard, but I'm really bad at the swimming aspect. As a DM, you're building a scenario that fits within the world. Like, the lake idea was really, really fun. I'm not going to be a god and just be like, and you're in the lake. It's going to be like, they probably, realistically, that character knows that they're not good at swimming and is probably going to stay by the shore. Something has to push them into the lake. But knowing min-maxers, they're going to go, hey, I'm bad at swimming. Someone else do this for me. Because I've seen that, especially if you look at the opposite end of like the wizard barbarian situation. If you're a barbarian who's like, you run in, like the DM goes, you run into a puzzle. Well, I'm a big barbarian. I don't know anything. Wizard, you're a smart person. You tell me. It's like, well, I was meant for you so you can show off that you're not smart at all. No. I'm a winner. I'm a min-maxer. I'm not good at this, so I'm going to let this guy do it. There are Diamond in the Roughs where, for some reason, when I do that voice, the best thing that comes out is like Grog Strongjaw, which is a Travis character who's a big barbarian who's dumb, but loves to do intelligence checks when they come around to him, mainly because he's like, I am the best, rolls it. And the moment he does roll well, everyone's like, oh my God, who are you? It brings that sort of the life, and that's the Diamond in the Rough aspect of a min-maxer. Not to say that Grog's a min-maxer. Kind of is. Maybe
thinking about it.
Maybe is. But no, so I regardless, I still sit in the side of like, I don't enjoy it. I don't think it's fun. I think if you're, as a player, are enjoying min-maxing at my table, go for it. I ain't going to stop your fun. You know, I ain't going to yuck your yum. But I personally think that you would have more fun if you didn't min-max. But that's as far as I would go.
I'll say I think like what's coming to mind for me is I think among the players we've played with, I think Thea in our Thomag campaign is the most min-maxy character we've got. So we know that player looked up builds and was like trying to optimize around a specific build because that's how that player enjoys playing games. I didn't think it caused problems, but then you would notice how much she would hate when she would fail a wisdom save, which was one of her weaknesses. Yes. And it would happen a lot. She like hold person and other stuff she would get hit with. And it actually, like, I think she played to that character well, and I gave her that ability, Thea's Revenge, where like after you fail a saving throw, you get extra damage against whoever made you fail that save. Because she as a character and a player hated that so much. And like really leaned into that particular kind, you know, that way of it. But it's and it felt right to the character. Like the character thought they were the ultimate badass, and a lot of times were, and then sometimes would just get hit with an illusion and would just be incapacitated, right? And then would be so mad about it. But as a player and as a character, not that it like wasn't fair, but I hate failing in that way.
Yeah. Boy, that's a can of worms we should not open. A lot of strong feelings. Speaking of strong feelings, because I'm really good at transitions, there was a big shakeup within Wizards of the Coast. Jeremy Crawford left. I think he was the first one to leave a few weeks ago, and then not but maybe a few weeks later, so fairly recently, Chris Perkins left as well. And these two individuals have been within Wizards of the Coast for like over 2 decades, I believe. I think Chris Perkins was 28 years. One of them was 28 years, which is almost 3 decades. That's a hell of a long time to be at a company. For those who don't know, Jeremy Crawford was an ex-game director, while Chris was the lead story designer, and I'm over-summarizing what their status and titles were and their contributions, because there's more in their resume. I just simply got like the more noticeable and sort of famous sort of roles where they had like the most biggest push. So they left within days of each other. So I wrote down notes, not weeks, days within each other, and publicly informed the public that they did not leave due to concerns with the coast, or it was some sort of corporate move. They'd just been planning this leave for a while, and it was just due to creative exhaustion, which I totally relate to. However, let's look at it on paper. It doesn't look good on the broad sense. You know, I mean, get it, sure. Wizards of the Coast didn't lose these people because they were treating them badly. We don't know. We hope. But there was the OGL issue, there was the AI art scandal, and so on. And yeah, I wouldn't sort of lean to you, Nick, because I know you have sort of more corporate experience than I do, or kind of maybe any of us combined, is Chris Perkins took the title creative director just a few months prior to the retirement, which was a few weeks ago. And maybe it's just me, but I think that should raise some eyebrows, you know, accepting a promotion or a new title change. And then, because I think it was a promotion from where he was, and then like a few months later going, all right, I gotta go.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons for that. I think the rosiest picture you can paint is it is a time that like makes sense for these people to move on.
3 years,
They've been there for a very long they've been there for a very long time. They just launched the new edition. They got it out there. All the books have come out now. And yeah, it has been an exhausting time with like a lot of controversies and stuff to fight through, and you know, just being on social media and dealing with that, I'm sure is not fun. I think there's plenty that we know of just from like what they have dealt with over the past, 10, 20 years. Totally makes sense for them to like want to change at this point. Taking the creative director job, I think it's like, if it's open, you take it, even if you're not sure you're going to be with the company long term.
Valid.
If it was if it wasn't such a famous person, you would say, yeah, you take that position and then you can use that to negotiate and get even more money somewhere else. They're not anywhere bigger than Wizards that these people are going to go. So they clearly are. It's in a weird thing. Like when you're Wizards in gaming, you're not going to step up to another company. Like what they must want is
Nintendo.
a change. Like, yeah, I guess it could be. I would be shocked, but
my brother works at Nintendo. Everyone.
I would expect if they stay in gaming at all, which I'm not sure that they will. I see a lot of people get burnt out, especially when they're in public facing roles, anything to do with gaming. I expect them to be more on the independent side. They clearly are very talented at what they do. They could probably go just about anywhere they wanted to and try more experimental stuff, try stuff that they never could do at like the role-playing game, the one that defines everything else. So I don't think it's shocking. I think it is like the end of an era, but like also it's a very long time to be at one place. It's very unusual for anybody to be at one place for so long. I believe that they left on good enough terms. I'm sure that they were tired of corporate bullshit or whatever too, but they dealt with that for a very long time. It's not like that's brand new or anything.
Yeah. Amber, Titan, do you have any thoughts about just Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins in general, or Wizards of the Coast and this new change?
I feel like Jeremy Crawford's like I'm using this, probably the euphemism wrong, but like a dictionary, because everybody refers to him like
he gets
for
tagged
stuff.
A lot. Yeah.
It's like, look it up. What are the rules? Like, what are the specifications? We do that in our own games.
Yeah.
So that's just interesting I don't think that's going to go away. I feel like people are still going to do that just because they're so used to doing that. But like, that's one of the first things I thought of when they were like, oh, he's leaving. And I was like, but they tag him for everything.
He's not going to he'll always get tweeted.
Yeah, but I mean, even to Nick's point, I kind of agree. Like, yeah, you're leaving, but like, why not take the title? It's right in front of you. Like, would you be dumb not to? And then like, it just adds more to his value and more to his weight, if anything. And I feel like I don't know enough about Chris Perkins to talk on that one, but I know they're both very talented.
Yeah, I don't know much about either of them, but like, even just with all the work they did for like 5e alone, like Nick was saying, we've moved on to the new edition, the new era of it. So like, yeah. So like, getting they're kind of leaving at a time since everyone still kind of has a skeptical eye at the new edition, leaving now and being like, all right, we're done, and everyone can still be like, oh, they're the 5e guys. Like, they're the ones that made, like, the best edition of D&D, or, like, the most beloved in the current day.
Yeah.
It's probably for the best for them anyway. And yeah,
it's so wild to think about, too. That I know there are some people who really love the original Fallout, and sort of the developers of that, like Fallout 1 and 2, before it became 3D. And I know people see that in such a glowing light that it's kind of the same mentality of, like, I like this, and these people, how they made that, this is fine, but I like this, and probably see that in such a positive light. And again, I am pulling from, hopefully I'm right, I'm not just spewing BS, but when I was doing research on both of these individuals, because it's not like I research everyone, even though they are so entwined with the the industry that I'm involving myself in is I believe it was Chris Perkins who had a hand or was like the director of Curse of Strahd, if I remember correctly.
Lead story designer. I have it up here. Lead story designer for Strahd. Which
is I think widely considered the best module for D&D in general, which is I honestly believe, and because I've seen this before where big names kind of step down and go somewhere else, is that I think they're probably going to collab and probably make their own kind of maybe competitor. Or at least that's the hope. That'd be really cool to have like a director and an architect, this sort of game architect, sort of work together and sort of build something that's brand new. The Age of Dragons may end.
Yeah, like another branch, like what happened with Pathfinder.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, that's a great clickbait title. I'm going to add that in. The Age of Dragons is ending.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's good.
Speaking of sort of the pre-made module, Amber, you threw this in as a subject to talk about, which I was not ready until now.
I know.
Homebrew versus pre-made.
I think it depends on the module. Like,
we never run them. Me and you,
no,
we've never run a module.
The thing is, like, me and you don't run them. We just make them out of our lovely screwed up brains. But
I hear you say ass, but okay.
I'll take my lovely screwed up brain and not the ass, thanks.
Well, have you taken parts of modules and used that in your homebrew? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You have?
I have for Hades.
Oh.
I bought that book specifically for that. But no, it was more of like, it was more for stats, I think, just because I was new to it and you guys wanted a challenge. And it was like, what, challenge rating 21 or 2 level 21s? I forgot I put the blurb in one of Mike's other group chats. And I was like, yeah, that's good. I'm going to mod that a little bit.
I've never taken a module. I've never read a full module. I think maybe I've read like a paragraph and went, I'm done.
I've read them. That's the thing, and
I've avoided them like the plague.
I feel like sprinkling stuff is fun.
I've never read Strahd. I know Strahd is great. That's cool. That's fun. I was a guest player in one of my friends' games where I played as what was his name? He was an old man.
You were like a monster hunter.
I was a monster hunter. See, people are already gonna be like, "How do you not know?" I don't read modules. I don't care. I've never played Strahd, and I never will. I know it's great.
Why do you not? Is it just lack of interest, or is there a moral objection to not reading modules?
No, it's a control freak situation.
Control freak,
yeah. They have their own world, their own rules, their own factions, their own cities, their own mayors, their own blacksmiths, and I go, that's all fun and fine and dandy, and I like that. People enjoy it. Just go enjoy your stuff. I'd rather be the one in control. I want to get the toys and do this.
Yeah. No, that I have quite a few. Like, I used to buy more in 5e. I don't know if I've purchased any of them. I got a lot of the books when I was in game journalism. That I got a lot just sent from Wizards, so that was pretty sweet for a while. I love using monsters from them. I love using traps from them, that kind of thing. It's rare I would read one from cover to cover. I don't think that's a particularly good experience. What I have done quite a bit is I do a lot of solo role playing, and before this modern era where there's like a million ways to do that and systems that are built for that, it was basically make a D&D party and run it through a thing. And in those cases, I think a module is great for that. You have to make some adjustments to like player knowledge and character knowledge and all that. But it can be a lot of mental work to be running a custom thing that you made up as a DM and custom characters that you're playing. I've had good experiences. I did a lot of the Underdark one. What's the 5e Underdark one with Demogorgon and stuff in it? I got characters up to like level 13 or 14 from the very start of that in a like ongoing solo campaign. And it's fun. It's fun to, I will say, Mike, I think it is instructive. You've played in enough games now, so you've seen how other people do things, so I don't think you're missing anything by not doing it. But I do think it it is interesting and instructive to see how other things are structured.
Mm.
Even just how they lay it out in the page can give you ideas for like notes or organization or whatever. Obviously, what you're doing is working, but I think for newer DMs, I think that buying a thing and looking at like officially designed or somebody else who's like well regarded in the homebrew scene who like publishes something, it can be a good way to like get a sense of how does this actually work? Like, what am I supposed to have in my DM notes? How do I like write down what a trap is or where it is or whatever,
Yeah.
you know?
All right, I won't fight that. That's fairly valid. Yeah.
I also used the Wild Beyond the Witchlight in Lucky Trove. I pulled stats from there, and then I mixed it with Irish lore. So.
But that still feels like taking, at least from my point of view, and I'm not sure if anyone else agrees with this, but taking a monster, just the stat and the creature itself, the way it looks, I don't believe that's considered using basing it off the module.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like retrofitting it to what you want.
Yeah, it's like, oh, cool. You gave me a thing. Like, if you gave me an apple that's meant for an apple pie, and I'm like, oh, cool. I'm just going to eat it. And it's like, that's not what it's meant for. It's like, I don't care. I do what I want. I build my own world.
You and I like to rip things apart, though. Because when I made Banshees, I didn't want the stat block that the book had. So I went into Irish folklore and like ripped that out of there and then made some stupid ability for it. Because I was just like, I don't like this block.
Hell yeah. No, see, mine is mostly like a literacy problem. I can't sit down and read them because it's so much content, so dense, and like the layout I can respect and appreciate sometimes because like it has to prepare for so many different options depending on what the players take. Things jump around a lot, like in terms of like place or chronology in a module. Because I've tried. I'm like, I'll be a good DM. I'll see how they do it. And I was reading it and I was like, what's going on? Don't know where I am. But yeah, no, I'm very much team. I'll take stat blocks and stuff. I've gotten more into the D&D modules, like the 5e modules, because I've gotten more into like the Faerun lore. I've found great interest in how like that old stuff has been written. Not like 5e Faerun lore, to be fair. More like 3.5 and sooner lore. I think it's much more interesting. But yeah, I can't do modules. I respect the crap out of people who do and people who write them. I just can't read good enough to do it.
I feel the same way. I'm like, I don't have the attention span for this. I like working 2 weeks in advance from when, like, for my games and how you guys play. It's like I work 2 weeks in advance, 2 sessions in advance, because I know that if you guys decide, I think your guys are turning right, and you immediately swing left, I go, all right, putting that to the side. I didn't have to build 7 months in advance. I didn't have to get a module and go, what do they do on page 37? I could just go, great. They're heading to the desert now. I'm gonna drop this. I'm gonna start building desert stuff, and then I can start doing that. And then if you guys swing back to the right and go, no, I think we changed our mind. We're going back to the jungle. I can go, great. I have this just in case, just one session that'll last me for one whole session, and I can do that. I can start building on that later. I'm always just 2 weeks ahead, always.
That's fair. I think part of it too is like, this is like also kind of a general like GM tip, I guess. But I think more so personally than being prepared with like who you're meeting where and who has what and what goes on in what location, I think, or like in terms of plot and stuff like that, I think knowing your world and how it functions is more important for those exact scenarios of like, okay, desert here, jungle here, they about face and go towards the desert. I know generally what's happening in that desert, so I can make something happen on the fly. Like, if I need an NPC there, I can just hurl an NPC in there, and like suddenly that's like an encounter or whatever. Like, and in a way, I personally feel a little restricted by modules, because I'm like, if they decide I'm gonna go take this path that was like offhandedly mentioned, and like there's no like book in the module for it, it's It's like, well, what's this way? I don't know. You weren't supposed to go that way. It doesn't exist.
A great example of this is I don't know what it's called, but I have like that thing where like I will be so obsessed with genies for 4 months, and then later I'll be like, I like devils. I want a devil now. And I've been like, if you give me a book that's like, and this is about dragons, I'm gonna be like, cool. And then in 3 months, I'm gonna be like, I don't give a damn about dragons anymore. Which is why I love bullet points. And a good example is the Glassleech Desert, which is where you guys currently are, like, that's in the world of Intier. I made a bullet point, which is it has some magical essence around it, which attract a lot of outworldly creatures. That's all it is. I can do anything. I could be like, oh, I can't wait to build a genie, and then one day I'm like, I don't give a damn about genies. I'm gonna build something else, and I don't have to be married to something. That's what's great making your own world.
I think that's the thing with modules, though, because like when we first started playing with Nick was like, yeah, if something goes wrong, you just make that shit up.
Yeah.
That was like the best advice ever. He's like, don't forget about it. And so I think
You write a note,
people
and then you
get
keep it for
so
later.
focused with the like step 1, step 2, step like 3 through 10 that if it does go awry, they freak out. But I mean, that's kind of like the gift of being a DM or a GM of like, well, now it's this fucking thing, and that's what I said it was. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard for me to imagine using like a full module as it's written, or certainly like a campaign setting. Seems like it would have a lot of baggage. But I mean, I think modules are good for particular things. I had to look it up, but in Thomag we did the Crux, and that's where Kara first showed up. It's when you guys went into the
Yeah. Well,
no,
not the
you went
sewers, it was
into
mountain.
the volcano, yeah,
Oh, okay.
and you needed to get these coins to like get a wish to do whatever you were going to do. And a lot of the stuff in it is just White Plume Mountain. And I told you that at the time, which is something in the Yawning Portal book. A lot of the rooms are just taken from White Plume Mountain. And it was interesting to see how like this weird traditional dungeon crawl with like kind of like complicated puzzles from the 80s, how it like modern players with 5e abilities dealt with this stuff, I thought was fun. I guess like not in a little bit in Thomag, not too much, and not so much in our current game, but like if we were going to go into a dungeon and be there for a long ass time, it would be fine if it was based on some module. If a lot of the rooms were just pulled from something a good designer came up with, and then in the hands of a skilled DM, right? Somebody who's, if something is not in the book, I'm comfortable making it up, but these are cool ideas in this book, right? Jumping off place. Also, I guess it's not quite a module, but like Blades in the Dark has a baked in campaign setting. And we've changed a lot for our game of Blades. Like I didn't want it. The campaign setting as is was too close to what Thomag was. So I wanted to change a lot of it, but there's a lot of elements that like are part of the rules and part of the character. The fact that there's ghosts, the fact that like when somebody dies, like there's an alarm that goes off, like the fact that you can't really leave the city, the presence of trains, like a lot of, I took maybe like 1/3 of the factions are factions that are in the book, and I put my own spin on them, but like I didn't invent them entirely, right? And like I think that book is an example of the writing is just really, really good, and the ideas are really, really cool, and you can use that as a jumping off point. But I'm much more comfortable using that, putting my own spin on it, and then we make it ourselves. So I don't have to remember what the official answer is, because our answer is what we came up with at the table, and then I made in my notes, right? There's not a right answer in a book somewhere. That was the source, and then we've made it between each other.
Oh boy. Well, I think it's fair to say that we all have a great love for homebrew stuff, and there is a space for pre-made stuff, but maybe it sounds like it's not our to-go-to. It is there if needed. It's a tool, but it's not necessarily something we're like, oh, great, a new module. I can't wait to buy it and play it. It's like, I'll hear something cool about it, and maybe I'll use something. And definitely Blades in the Dark is amazing. It has the fear tactic that we all want because it makes me scared and stressful all the time. Hey, I said all of that just to transition into our horror story of the day. Because I'm really good at transitions. I honestly was going to stop the horror story, but Amber, you really seem to enjoy it.
They're funny.
Okay.
It brings little joy from my black heart. Just
valid. I understood. Clocked it. So this one is called had a player issue an ultimatum to me, the DM, during a session. I love these. So this past Friday, I ran a session with my players exploring an abandoned cursed city. We had left off with the previous week, with the party making their way inside and gotten lost as the buildings seemed to shift around them. They had to make it to an inn that was glowing golden light, and a face looking out at them from a window. The inn was a protected safe zone, made so as by an act of divine intervention on behalf of a paladin inside. The character looking outside the window was a new player who was just joining the group. So, already sound kind of cool. Hey, this sounds like a good idea. I might just steal it. Or warp it. Homebrew. No, I'm kidding. But this week we packed up... no, seriously. If you catch me using this, comment. Tell me stop it. I will stop. This week we picked back up with some discussion between characters about plans in navigating the city, introducing the new character, etc. They each had a downtime to prepare and essentially just sort of getting to know each other, as well as to sort of learn what they need to retrieve in terms of the party MacGuffin to stop this sort of city from being wild. Throughout this, the problem player kept cutting in and cutting off others by rushing in, saying things like, yeah, we all go to sleep and wake up rested. Now we're exploring the city, right? Or, great, we carry out the plan and we made it. Now we're going where we need to heading. What's next? It almost sounds like the player does not want to. It's like a video game. It sounds like let's fast travel. In the midst of the other characters talking to the NPC and gathering information or role-playing amongst themselves, even as they start to talk to the new character, I had to keep an eye on the clock, making sure that things were moving along at a swift pace. And then I got to the point where two other players were DMing me asking what the hell is going on with this guy as he continued to be rude and pushy. So it seems here, and I'm going to kind of summarize a little bit, but turns out that the reason why the city is kind of shifting ever so much is because there is no sunlight. Something about daylight is currently, it would be sort of almost like grounding the city so that it does not shift. So they have a party druid, who's able to cast the daylight spell, which they do so. The problem player, cutting off the rogue mid-sentence as they're starting to explain what they learned, is great. Sunlight is the answer. We get to the castle at the center of the city. What do we find? DM says, hold on, rogue. The rogue. Hold on, rogue. Turning to the rogue. What were you saying? Problem player. If the next words out of your mouth aren't, you arrive at the castle, then I'm gone. DM, are you kidding me? Rogue, you climb back down the rope to the city to describe what you learn. The Discord chime pops up as the problem player disconnects and leaves the server.
Oh.
All right.
I'd be like, good riddance, but
it says here, after the disconnect, 30 seconds later, because he goes, I was planning to have an encounter the moment they found out the information and went back to the streets. Everyone rolled for initiative to have a fun combat. I later got texts from the problem player afterwards as he was trying to explain himself, and I said, hey man, I'm moving on. I apologize that I was wasting your time, but maybe we should find a different party. Impatient. Does that feel good, Amber? You wanted that?
Yeah.
He fast forwarded to the end of the campaign. He fast forwarded to I don't get to play anymore with this.
I win D&D.
I think that's the thing. Like, I mean, Mike and I. Okay, maybe Mike does seem like it. I think I don't come off as competitive unless you actually know me. But I'm like, there's like a time and a place though. Like D&D is just not a thing you win unless like it is like a one shot or whatever. Like if that's the objective of like, that's what you're doing. But it's just always amazing to me when people jump in then and they're like, I'm gonna win the game, and I'm like, that's not how this works at all.
Yeah, it's the same thing again of like having a different expectation of what you want the game to be or whatever. It's like this is the game. Like
Yeah.
the conversations, like the day-to-day stuff, getting to the castle is as much the game as the castle if there's interesting stuff that happens all the way. Trust that the DM will fast forward if there's not anything that we need to like play out with the, put the camera on or whatever. But someday the game will be over. Someday this story will be over, and it's not a race to get to that. You're supposed to be enjoying it right now as you're playing. You're really missing the point of what you're doing, I think.
Yeah. I was gonna try to give the benefit of the doubt at first, because I'm like, I've had moments as a DM where I'm watching my party, like, usually it's like for scheduling what they want to do next, or like the logistics side of the thing, like go in circles with each other and then just like stall out for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, guys, we're running out of time. Let's like, final decision, what are we doing? Okay, now let's go do that. Like,
Yeah.
I've been in that moment before, but like trying to like skip past the dialogue is
Best work.
wild.
Got TikTok brain. Can't have an attention span for what's actually.
It's
But yeah,
that mentality of playing a video game and then seeing a cutscene and then just pressing start and going, I hate cutscenes. God, there's so many cutscenes. And then you get into the action, you're like, this game doesn't make any sense. Why is the story so
Who's that
disjointed?
guy?
I don't understand any of this. Where am I supposed to go? It's like, you didn't watch the cutscene.
Yeah. I think that's a good point about the players can go around in circles, Titan. I think that's a good observation. In the Friends at the Table podcast, in like their very first or second episode, they've had hundreds of episodes and multiple seasons now. The very first or second, there's like a team of characters that are on a boat, and they have this like long discussion about, should we get off the boat and explore that island? Do we have like I think they even talk about, do we have a dinghy or whatever? So it's not just our
I'm never
game
gonna live
where
this
that
down.
comes up. But
I'm never gonna live this down.
they have it goes on, and eventually the GM Austin Walker is like, all right, we got to get off the boat. And that has become shorthand that comes up later on when he notices that they're just kind of talking too much instead of doing something. It's like, time to get off the boat. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, we actually need to do that. And that's a big part of the Blades system, is skip to the action, and then if you need to, you can flash back later and have a conversation about it. But don't try to plan everything or like discuss everything in the last minute. But it's like, yeah, that's totally fine. Get to the action, but maybe the action is a tense conversation between two characters that happens at the campsite.
Mhm.
That is as much the game as fighting a dragon in the castle.
Yeah.
And people will have a better time if everybody recognizes that.
It's also one of those things where those slow moments in TTRPGs, not just D&D, any kind of roleplay game, is those slow moments are the moments where you can actually start to gush about your character. We've had numerous scenes in Ventir where it's like, the first one that sort of comes fresh to mind is probably like Phoenix saying like, I came from this place and it was not fun for me, and now you guys know as a party that's part of her character's story, and there will be moments where you guys to go like for like Arrow, it's like, yeah, I used to traverse a lot during the seas, and I love building and I like woodworking. It's like, oh, now I know that about Arrow. It's like those slow moments are the moments for you guys to really kind of explore your guys as characters, character growth. So this guy just really wanted to be like, and I bet he was a min-maxer. Oh no!
I think the only counter argument you and I can make, Mike, is we've had a DM do that where, like, on the other side of that spectrum is we've tried to be really patient, and like you didn't ask any of the questions that he is now answering and has given you lore that you're like, how did I get here and why am I here?
Can we preference this that we love this DM?
Yeah, we love him.
We love him to death.
He's
another DM
awesome.
we will not name.
We won't name.
But we love him, and we're players for his campaign for a few years.
Yeah.
And we love him to death. He's an amazing person, but he has the 3-day, like, 3 session just for the slow moment sessions. It's like, are we gonna do anything soon? You know, and a lot of it is also you enter in a city and you would know that the blacksmith, his name
Didn't
is
say a
this.
word.
And you would also know that his family is famous for X, Y, and Z, the special sword. It's made out of this metal. This
And
metal
then there's
actually
a
came from
family
this
lineage,
It
and
came
you're
from
just
this
like,
mountain, and you would also know that this mountain is known for the special story. So I'm going to read you this diatribe of where the story came from and what it was built from the gods.
Oh, good.
And it's like, and now that we covered the
you're
blacksmith,
like, bro, I just wanted to find a general store.
now you know that the bread, the baker. The baker is also part of the guild that used to slay goblins. And it's like, stop it! I don't need to know all this.
You're like, I appreciate you. I appreciate you have this ready to go, but that's not what I asked at all.
That experience has shaped the way that I did Vintier. And before even session 0, I told you guys, like, okay, based on your backstory, you would know certain locations. Whenever it comes to you making rolls while you're in that location, you have advantage. That's what it is.
To be fair, Mike, I don't think I've never had you DM for me, Titan, but I've had Nick and Mike do it, and I don't think either one of you have ever done that to me. So I think it's perfectly fine.
It's pacing is an art. It's one of the most important things that a GM does, and it's not something that I don't think gets a lot of like in the rule book like explanation of how to do it, because there's not one size fits all. So like some parties will not enjoy if there's a session without combat, and I don't think that's not like, I think that's valid. If what you want out of a game is, I want to be like rolling some dice and fighting some things at least once a session, otherwise I don't really feel like I got what I want out of this game, I think that is valid. And so, you as the DM have to know what your players value and what they consider a satisfying session, and know when to hand wave, when to montage, when to move things along. And yeah, I also think it's getting the lore out and painting the world is also an art, right? That's like, how much of it do you put in the book? In when somebody's reading a book or whatever, it's like, it's hard to do without feeling clumsy, but it's part of your job. Part of the job is to like illustrate the world and fill in details and leave little, things that players might care about and want to go after. And it's a thing. It's like, once you've been doing it for a long time, you can be like, yeah, it's very important. Or, well, how do I do it right? I don't know what to tell you. It's like, you got to feel it. I don't know what the great advice word is. You just kind of have to feel it. You have to pay attention. Maybe talk to your players about it or whatever, although I don't remember I did that a lot. Just try to see if everybody's having fun. And if everybody's having fun, then you're on the right track, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it depends on your group.
It's one of those, like for Vintier, it's like for Legati, he's from the capital. But I didn't talk to you at all, like, what is in the capital. It's like, Legati would know this. Legati would know that. Or, like, you would ask me questions like, hey, I'm from here. Would I know if there's, like, a magic shop? And it's like, you would, maybe, and then we'll make a roll for it. Because anyone else who would, like, if Moors came up and was like, I'm in the capital of Ventir, of the Dracewind Kingdom, do I know where this magic shop is? Like, hell no, you don't. Why would you know? Like, what would indicate that you would know this? But for Legati, it makes sense. It's kind of like how the forward guard was sort of kind of built into this world, because it's one of those things where it's like, do you know the base? Like, the majority of us at this particular stream knows we were from California, so we know who the Dodgers are, and it's like, do you know the Dodger players? It's like, I know a few of them. I don't know all of them, and it's kind of equivalent to that. Like, Legati knows that there is the forward guard. Just, it's like, I didn't collect their cards. I don't know who they are. I just know that they're there. So to your point, it's like it's a bit of a toss-up art whether or not you should be providing everything or just enough.
I think as a player though, I like not knowing that. Like, you didn't tell Amber, like, hey, your main dude is from the forward guard. Yeah. Like, Phoenix had no idea.
It allows some prizes,
So I was like, oh, that's gonna come up later and bite us in the ass, but That's totally fine.
Well, I think that is it for Above Table. Thank you so much for joining us for today, and we'll check you guys next time. Bye.